I've only done one of these worksheets like once before. It was years ago. So
let's hear it.
I'm angry with Lucian because he is hurtful to me. He's lied to me, and he won't admit his wrongs to my face.
So Lucian lied to you. Is it true?
No.
I'm just curious. Where did the no come from?
I was feeling him in the moments that he lied, and feeling that that was what he believed was true.
So that's how he found his no. How do you react when you think the thought, Lucian lied to me?
I feel like I get hit, like I flinch, and I feel something in my hands that's like, I want to be separate from him.
Now witness, as you look at him and you look at you, who would you be without the thought, he lied to me?
Well, I just kind of see something about his energy that just passes through me, and it feels like I'm not fighting.
So he lied to me. Turn it around.
I lied to me?
Yeah. Give me an example of where you were lying to you about Lucian.
By believing that he should be different than he is.
To him, he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
And you lied to you, just not slowing down enough to listen to another truth.
I believed he should be a different way, a way that he's not.
That he should believe like you believe.
Right.
And there's another turnaround. He told me the truth.
Oh, wow. He did. He told me exactly what he believes. That's amazing.
We don't like when other people's truths don't match ours.
This statement, he told me the truth, that was like not a possibility.
So you were believing your thoughts and lying to you, and he's the enlightened one of the two.
Yeah.
I love you getting this, honey.
Yeah.
This is the most empowering thing that'll ever come down. You're it. And it is the truth that sets us free. Yours, not ours.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we want to welcome Katie, and we wanted to show you that short video. Sorry we weren't able to quite introduce it before it started. Just to give some of you an introduction to her work. And it's her first time here, so I first want to welcome her. And I also wondered, Katie, if you could just step us through how you see the work and talk a little bit about how you work with people like that gentleman when there's a particular thought that is believed, and kind of how you see your work.
Well, the way I work with people is I invite them to find a situation, a moment in time where they were suffering, or maybe they were angry at, maybe they were hurt or sad. And to go to that moment in time, a moment in time when you are experiencing any kind of suffering, and identify what you were thinking and believing in that moment that you were suffering, because it's what you are thinking and believing that is the cause of suffering, not that person or thing or outside object condition. So then we put it on what I call a judge your neighbor worksheet. You know, we're always judging, and so much of it is not true. So I invite people to put those thoughts on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, and then we question it. Socrates says, an uninvestigated life is not worth living. And I've come to see that in my experience, it's absolutely so. So these random thoughts, like he hurt me, how dare he do that? It's not fair. I want him to understand that I'm right, he's wrong, etc. Those thoughts belong on a worksheet, and then we can deal with them, set ourselves free from that, and see what's in that space, in that creative position, that don't know state of mind, where we're not in that conditional thinking. We're in a space where, what is in that space when we're not arguing with ourselves or judging? It's beyond magical. It's wisdom.
Thank you.
Katie, I'm curious because you brought up the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, and everyone was given a booklet today that includes one. And it's very powerful to do the work one-on-one with you, with someone else. But what is so special about writing it down? I've had this experience myself. I'd love for you to share with the audience of what happens when you sit with it and write it down on this worksheet.
Well, the mind, we could say the ego, the identified mind, is such a wild child. And if I'm going to say, like, he hurt me, is it true? Well, my mind will just run away with that. Well, yeah, da, da, da. And so now I don't have to question it. I've convinced myself I'm right again. But if I take those thoughts, that wild child, those thoughts that make up that identity, I am angry and hurt, whatever that is, then I'm a victim by any story. Then I identify the thoughts and I put them down and they can't move. There they are, they're stopped. How many of you have wanted to stop your mind? Done. Identify them. It's like you close your eyes and you get still. And that situation, let's say where you were hurt, that moment of suffering, it doesn't matter how old you were in time. It comes to you in the stillness. Maybe you're focusing and you're just maybe following the breath and notice the thoughts coming in and out. And then all of a sudden you feel some energy. And you get stuck. And so in the work, what I do and I invite people to do is to notice that and to invite that story that has caused this emotion of emotions. And then to notice what you were thinking and believing in that situation that is in that meditation, that stillness right now. Identify the thoughts, put them on that Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, write them down, there they are stopped. Set them aside and then go back to mindfulness, noticing. And then at some point you may determine to look at that worksheet and move one of those thoughts back into your head and meditate on, is it true? For example, if you wrote down the thought, he hurt me, just to meditate on, is it true? He hurt me, is it true? And then notice in that situation how you reacted in that time and place when you believed the thought. Notice how, did you mentally attack them or maybe you verbally did? Then did you attack yourself for attacking him and experience the guilt? Notice how you react. And then notice who you would be in that same situation without the thought. And you can actually see that situation as though you're above it, witnessing in compassion. Compassion as you witness you in that situation in your asleepness. And how you teach that in the moment you're believing those thoughts. That is not who or what we are. It's false identification, anything that is less than kind. False identification. And what makes up that identification? What I'm thinking and believing in any given moment. So that's the long version.
Thank you.
I love that version.
Sometimes it actually feels, though, like I'm being lied to. My son says, I'm going to go to bed, I'm just going to go to sleep, and I find out that he's in his bed looking at his iPad. I feel like he didn't tell me the truth. Somebody tells you something that feels...
There are only 4 questions.
Okay.
He lied to me. Is it true? So what is the answer?
Apparently so. I mean, he.
Well, drop the apparently. You can't fool you. You're believing it. So you just contemplate. Yeah, it's true.
Or this is a great opportunity to do the work with Soren
Yeah.
on this issue with his son.
No, but I feel the need to say, hey, you told me this, and you're not honoring what you told me. I feel the need to call him on it.
And that's all well and good.
Okay.
And there's something more important than my son being self-realized, and it's me being self-realized.
Yeah.
So he can wait. I've got a job to do here. And then I'll approach him. So maybe a little freer, a little less Velcro on it, a little less attachment. So he lied to me. Is it true? Yes. He lied to me. Can I absolutely know that it's true? Okay, I can see that situation. See him with his iPad. Yes, it's true. Okay, so we've got the first 2 of 4 out of the way. Okay, now notice, how do you react when you believe the thought he lied to you? Now we're not into right and wrong here, it's just notice. Were you at peace? Were you connected to your child? Were you connected to yourself? Or were you in teaching mode?
Never.
It's like if I'm teaching my child he lied, I'm teaching him something he already knows. So one of us are confused and it's not him. It's like, Dad, catch up. Oh, I'm here by Soren and Michelle's invitation. I don't know. So then, how do I react when I believe the thought and I witness the emotions? And I witness those images of my son in the past when I saw him with the iPad, and I witness what I said, what I did, how I approached him, how that felt. And I can see the look on my son's face if I were harsh at all. And I can see if there's any defense there in him. I see clearly where he got that. Mere image. Would I be without the thought? You lied to me. I noticed, sweetheart, you had your iPad out. And I know you have to go to school the next day. And I know you know that I want you to get rest. And I want to know what you were watching that is more valuable to you than what we had agreed on. And then I get to learn my son's world. So now I'm the student. He's the teacher. I'm learning his world. I'm listening. I'm connected. There's laughter. And then I can say, sweetheart, it's like, let's turn out the light, give it another try. And I say, you're comfortable by not doing that, but, I'm very uncomfortable, so help me out here. So I feel better, and I feel better that way. And then they will or they won't. Have you noticed? We've been using war as a way of solving differences. It's crazy. You know how I know? It hurts. There's another way. There's another way. Self-realization, not other realization. Self-realization, and it's so simple to just get still and meditate on, for example, whatever concept you'd identified that would cause a war inside of you. So then turn it around. My son lied to me, turned around, I lied to my son. Okay, where is it that I lied to my son? And then I'm going to look back to that conversation. And if there's the slightest little thing, you know, we were talking about backstage about the slightest, it's like the princess and the pea, you feel it. You feel it. 100 mattresses, 1,000, you feel it. There's a bruise. It's off. You know it. That's where the mind is trapped, and so is the creative mind at that point. So now I may find something that I need to apologize to my son for. Humbling, leveling. There's a connection there. We're equal. We're equal. And this isn't about parenting, it's about freedom and understanding. So then another turnaround. He lied to me, and another opposite, another turnaround. I lied to me. Okay, in that moment, I said, and this is hypothetical, I said, you know, turn out the lights. I want you to go to sleep. And do you agree to that? And he said yes, and he didn't do it. Okay. In that moment, when that discussion was happening, where is it I lied to me? Where is it I knew he wasn't going to do that?
True.
You know, it's like, how did I know that little experience of my own? So we begin to stop fooling ourselves. And it's a whole new freedom. It's a fearless state of mind because you're right with yourself. And that connection is, no one can break that connection but you. My child does not have the power. No one has the power to break that connection with you if your mind is right. Only you. I like to say, no one can hurt me, that's my job. So if I'm hurt, you know, I look to myself. And isn't that user-friendly? Handy dandy. Right here. You know, if there's a problem in my household, I look to me. So quick. And teachers don't have fun. You know, always the student. And that's what I love about inquiry. For starters.
And what about, so we've talked a lot about thoughts and your beliefs and the things going on in your mind. Are all thoughts okay?
Well, for me, yes. You know, if those are my teachers. You know, the thoughts that appear, you know, they identify me. So if there's anything at all, that's it. So whatever those thoughts, when I'm believing my thought, create the identity. When I question those thoughts, I'm free of identity. And I'm living, odd words, but it's like living out of your true nature, and which is, you know, just words, good and kind and right. And the way that I know that is when I'm opposing anyone or anything in a way that is not just a connected conversation. Anything less than that, it feels off. It's off. So again, I look to me for that. And actually, I forgot the question. And there's so much peace in that. know, just when you need a little silence, you've got it. Gone.
I think Michelle might be referring to thoughts just like, wow, I'm so grateful. I have this gratitude thought. I'm so grateful for my friend.
So tell me, say, Katie, I don't like you.
I don't like you, Katie.
Ah, that's such good information. You know, specifically, what is it that you don't like about me? Now, he's going to grow me. You know, I was in prison, in a men's prison one time, and I was doing the work with them, and I asked them to do that. Someone give me a negative judgment, and they were fearful of doing that. And I continued to invite them. Finally, this one man in the back, he's like this, and he's very large, and he's in the back of the room alone. And he says, I can do that. And I said, good. This man, he said, dump the gray hair. And what are you wearing? And then he began to give me a makeover. I left as a clearer, you know, more awake to myself. You know. But what is it? It's like if you don't like me, you have information that maybe I could use. Maybe I know some of it, you know, I'm aware of it, and maybe not. But you hold my enlightenment. It doesn't matter if it comes from this mind or this mind. Imagine if governments sit down and had these conversations and only grew from each other and trusted the other in that conversation to say or do anything, understanding that they all knew how to deal with it. A better way, another way, a different conversation.
I'm so happy up here.
Is there, from my understanding of your work, in some ways, no one's ever doing anything wrong. Is that correct? Even though it would appear that there's a lot of wrong things happening in the world from one perspective. How do you see that working, and how do you see your work helping to maybe create more positive connection, positive world, if you don't see that there's something wrong that people are doing per se?
No one can say, okay, so how many of you have ever had the thought that people shouldn't lie? Okay, it's a rumor. People shouldn't lie, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true that people shouldn't lie? And notice, looking back on an experience where someone's lied to you, notice how you react when you believe that thought on them. People shouldn't lie. You notice that you shouldn't lie. You hurt me. He hurt me. Don't hang out with him. Did you hear that? It's how we react when we believe the thought. It's like throwing a pebble in the waters. It just lives on. Now notice in that situation where someone lied to you, who would you be without the thought? Listening, connected, awake, realizing, noticing. People shouldn't lie. Turn it around. What is the opposite? People should. How many of you have never been lied to? Would you raise your hand? Okay, there's the evidence. People should lie. They should lie until they don't. We're children. there is this most amazing turnaround. People shouldn't lie to me, turned around. I shouldn't lie to me. And I've just found one place I lied to me. I lied to me when I believe people should not have the freedom to lie. And I see that, of course, they lie. They're believing their thoughts. There's no one guilty here. Believe our thoughts, we suffer. Question our thoughts, we don't suffer. So people shouldn't lie to me. Another turnaround, I shouldn't lie to people. That's a life's work, isn't it? But it certainly keeps me out of other people's business. There's a lot of comfort in that. I do less harm that way.
I have a thought that we're getting close to the end of time, our time, and I'm pretty sure it's true.
But if
But I wanted.
if you look at it, there's no moment in time that it's not the end of time. That's it. Done.
But I wanted just to invite, is there any last words that you want to share with people who are interested? You're going to do a breakout, actually, right after this. Katie will be doing a breakout and doing more of the work that you saw on the video with anyone willing to do that with her. So
Yes,
I know
and bring those books that
those books
you
if you want.
that you have on your chairs.
Yeah.
And it's also marvelous in such a short space and time if just to sit in that Judge and Neighbor worksheet and just be in that moment in time and just to have that experience is huge. So
Beautiful.
I look forward to that.
Good. Any last words? I feel like you've said so much and you've given us a full cup. But is there anything you wanted to add or address that we haven't addressed in the last few minutes we have?
Nothing's coming to me, Soren, other than gratitude that you would bring together such an amazing, all of us in such an amazing space, and the way you, just gratitude.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Mutual.
Thank you, Katie.
Great.
Thank you,
so much.
Michelle.
With us.
Thank you. Thank you.